Welcome, everybody. I thought that 4 o'clock was not going to be a good time for my presentation, but I'm absolutely surprised, and thank you very much for coming here. I thought that I'm going to be the only one and the technician guy. Gentleman, I'm sorry. First of all, my name is Tamas Kalman. I'm originally from Hungary. Is it okay? Okay now. Yes, it's less. So, I'm originally from Hungary, and the next 20-25 minutes I'm going to talk about increasing your open rates and using behavior data. And I'm also going to share you with one case study what we did in Germany. I'm working with Melion, which is a new email platform developed by a German company called XQ. They've been in the market for 12 years, and it's a new product. But one little bit about this is my family. I have a 1-year-old Zador, and also I have an 8-year-old Anna, who I absolutely love. The today's menu is, first I'm going to touch base on why subject line matter. Second, what the subject line should be, and when would be the best time to send an email that everybody asks, and how to increase relevancy. And last but not least, I'm also insert one case study into the presentation. So first, the why. Well, it's quite obvious that last year, email is absolutely important. Unfortunately, email is not sexy. We have few text, few characters where we can communicate with our audience, and but these few characters, which should be probably less than 50 characters, is absolutely vital. Vital because many businesses rely on it. At least one study says that last year 44% of email recipients made at least one purchase based on email. Unfortunately, I don't have exact data how many recipients made more than 1 or 5 or 7 purchases, but almost half of the people who we are sending email to, they actually do buy some things. Well, we have basically 3 parts. One of them is the from, where you are sending the email from. I would recommend not to do any funky things like from Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck. The most important thing is that this is where your credibility starts. That it's clearly you have to communicate who you are, who is sending the email. Of course, under the subject line, that's where the chemistry starts. That's where I would not say everything depends on, but definitely that's the key, one of the key of why people will open your email. You have basically only a few seconds, or less than a few seconds, maybe a few milliseconds, before your readers decide to delete your email, what you put together, or reads it through. The next thing is what. So what should be this subject line? There are a few, studies out there, but they are kind of controversial. Sometimes they say that the fewer words you use, the better, but I've seen opposite to that. I've seen 90% open rates where the character number was over 60 characters. It really depends on it. You can start with 50, but the best thing is always test. But why do people read your open? Well, first of all, is that you have to be personal. You have to know a lot of data about your customer. So in the future, in a few years, I believe that we will not see any email blast where you send the same email to your thousands or maybe hundreds of thousands or maybe millions of your customers. So you have to build enough data to make the communication personal. The other aspect is that you have to make the communication timely. People, they react much better if there is some urgency in the message. Always convey the benefit. Why should I care about your message? Why should I open it? What's in it for me? And if you know your target audience, you can build affinity, their interest, what they can relate to, what kind of words can trigger the opening. And of course, always try to create valuable information. A few times you can trick them with funky subject lines, but the best thing is if the subject line correlates with the content what you will convey. Well, we started with the personal. People always cannot relate to themselves. Well, not probably because we are selfish, or at least we can relate to things what we like, what we do, where we live, what my dog name is, what my children's name is. So you can pick up those words, you know, from the subject earlier. So people think themselves first, probably the most. That you can take advantage of it. Probably, I guess around 20% of the people, 20% of the email marketers, they use personalization in the subject line. It used to work in the past. You can still add maybe 3-4% increase, but don't expect too much. You can do better with if you can put other kind of information about the user, like for example the city where he lives or the company he works with. He picks that up much better, much easier. Or the industry. If you address your target audience where they work, so they can associate themselves with that industry people. Timely. Well, if you put time-related messages, that also can help. Like for example, the February website statistics, or Eagle's Nest Camp important travel information. What's interesting, you wouldn't think that this is long, but if the content is relevant, that subject line was able to achieve over 48% open rate for those segment who was interested in Eagle's Nest Camp. Or an invitation for a snowball. That's also, if you know Smith and Johnson, then of course you would open it. So then you can relate to those who are sending this information. So that, and also, if you, let's say you have signed up for a newsletter where you want to receive open house information, if you're interested, let's say in Mountain View, California, then it would be also relevant. So relevancy is important. I took this information from MailChimp, where certain words can help to increase your open rates. Interesting, the urgent, this word was on top of the list after breaking and important and alert. So timely, urgency it could be a key. So benefit, what's in it for me? So try to show value in the first 2 words in your email. That's where everybody starts reading. In Germany, actually, the best practice is that they even in Germany, the words are much longer than, for example, in the English language. So then they try to squeeze the longest word at the beginning, so because that's the one which conveys the most important information. Like that's not German actually. Top 10 rules. Your copy. Try to avoid hard sell. You can get better off because many people they hard sell like buy now or must see offer, because everybody wants to buy but nobody wants to be sold to. Unfortunately, that's not my phrase. This is a word cloud, what we usually gather for all of our customers. Let me explain what we see here. Larger the word you see, like euro, it means that more often it appeared in the subject line. Greener the particle word is, it means that particle word was open more often. So that's the open ratio. So, for example, smart appeared many times, but the open ratio was quite bad, as opposed to the Preisknaller, which is on the top part. Do I have a mouse? I don't have a mouse. So this is an affinity map, where we can see what words can trigger additional openings. This is what we use for the case study, so I placed that case in the middle. We worked with a website called 004.de. It's a B2B technology website, a B2B related website. What they wanted to do is we selected those people who has opened the email or clicked on content which was energy saving related. So we selected this group. We have selected around 3,000 people who had made some kind of interaction with those words. Out of the, I believe they have the database of around 20-something thousand, or maybe 30, below 30,000. And we created this affinity group and the reference group. And the results were quite impressive. Maybe if I go to the chart. So basically, we were able to achieve. We were almost, actually, yes, we did 50% better open rates of 68% versus 48% based on these affinity groups. What we wanted to prove is that past behavior can predict future behavior. So if you have opened an email where it was energy related, then in the future, if I send you content which is about energy savings, then you do open it. And the chart, what you see here is that, okay, the top is the 68% open rate. The middle part, I don't know, what is it, pink or purplish, or yeah, T-Mobile coloring. So the T-Mobile color is where there's the average open rate. So it's a B2B site, so they usually get around 44%. But that subject to the was that content was not as relevant to the majority of the group. So then we were able to achieve only just 44% open rate for the reference group. Right now we are working with this group not only just to do affinity information-based subject line, but also content. What we do is we use the same word cloud and apply it to the newsletter content. And based on the first results, we were, and the customer is very, very happy. We will test it. That right now the problem is that if you have this kind of offer, the subject line cannot really correlate with the content, but you have to do the actual content. We have to do the personalization on the content level. So we will also try to do then splitting one offer per email. That will be the next step. I believe that once we do that, and maybe triple the frequency, we will be able to achieve much better results than just a 15% conversion rate increase. Do you have any questions related to that? Because after I jump to a different section. One question, sometimes people ask, okay, but how much data, how many emails do I have to send out to have this kind of, this kind of level of information? Well, they started gathering this data about 13 months ago. So over a year, you can really get a look and you can really get valuable data out of your content. Of course, it depends on how frequently you communicate and how different subject lines you are testing with. But in order to get this kind of data, you have to play around with the subject lines, and of course, you have to then send high number of frequency, like probably 1 or 2 times per week. Yes. Okay, then we come to the when. So what is the best time to send? When can I reach my audience? What is the best time? Monday morning, Tuesday afternoon? Well, the answer is it depends. Depends on the user. In the US, I was at a conference where people were talking about that the first time people open the email, 60% of the people are opening their email on the mobile first. In the UK, it's roughly, I believe, around 50%. But for certain groups, as we go along, maybe next year, every year it's growing. So sooner or later, maybe we will reach 80% open rates. The first opens on the mobile. But what's important is that the mobile usage is up, way up. It's growing like crazy. But the conversion rates are unfortunately lagging. E-commerce sites are experiencing much better conversion rates on the desktop versus on mobile. But it also depends on e-commerce sites to e-commerce sites, because especially if it's a large ticket item, then absolutely desktop is the killer. But for smaller ticket items, for flash sales, then the mobile is catching up. But for certain customers, it is very important that they are experiencing that the conversion rates are much better on the desktop. So the goal for those kind of customers is to reach their target customers on their desktop, because they can achieve close to 3 times as good conversion rates. This is one usage pattern, email reading pattern, what you see. Over there, unfortunately, this is in German, but over there what you see is the week, Monday through Sunday. and you will see the hours from midnight until midnight. So this is 168 hours of calendar. What you see here is that the blue lines represent the desktop openings, and the orange lines represent mobile openings. You can see that immediately on Tuesday, this guy probably always goes out, so he doesn't read his email. Every other night, basically, he's up until like 10 o'clock and reads mostly his email on his mobile. But at this time, if you have this kind of a usage behavior, so you get up at 7, you go back to bed around 11ish, then it's very difficult to determine what would be the ideal send-out times for if you are not using a sophisticated system. But if you are able to send personalized send-out times, so you can if you can determine what would be the ideal, statistically measured ideal send-out times, then you will be able to achieve to target your audience while they are on their desktop. We will have a case study. We are doing a case study with the same shop, and we will be able to release this case study, but probably around May time frame. We are still building the data. This data is also like around 13 months collection. What else you can do to increase the open rates? Well, increase relevancy. One interesting factor is that I don't know how many of you are already using Trigger and automated emails, but probably you can share the same experience that the triggered and automated emails open rates are probably maybe four to 5 times as high as a regular newsletter. The reason being is that this is also behavior driven. There's an action on the website or action within the email, and there's a reaction. Another big advantage for this kind of trigger emails is that you can set it up once and then it works automatically. And this is where you can get the best return on your investment. What kind of trigger emails I would recommend you to use? Well, one of them is the welcome email series. Send immediately as soon as somebody signs up to your newsletter. So there's an action, there's a reaction. Always, especially if there's a new customer, communicate what is the value of his subscription. At the beginning, it's extremely important when you start communicating your constituents is the value, what you will be delivering to their mailbox. You can immediately do the cross-promotion, either ask them to share them on social media or drive them to your web shop. At the end, I will show you what percentage of the average customer using from these trigger emails, and you will see that only 60% of the people are sending out welcome email series. Only 60%. So you don't even people are 1 out of 3 are not even thanking their customers about thank you for signing up. This is the value what we will be creating for you. Cart abandonment. I don't know what percentage you guys are doing, but it's also it's crazy that maybe only like 20 or 30% of the e-commerce shops are doing cart abandonments. I've seen a couple of case studies. What is the best time to send out? We did also some experiment. It really depends on the product you are selling, but I would highly recommend if a cart is abandoned, then I would immediately send out within 2 to 3 hours first, and then the second email in 1 and 2 days, and then the last one in 3-4 days. And on average, you can get back around 15% of your customers. Always try to communicate the objections. There's a reason why people leave their shopping cart. Maybe they are still hesitating about pricing. Maybe they just got distracted. Maybe that's their first time that they might buy something from you. So there's there's always some kind of an objection why I didn't buy it. So try to answer those objections that you provide money back guarantee, and other customers said that and that about my product. So try to communicate and try to push them through the caching machine first. At the beginning, I would not recommend you to send them a coupon just to close the deal in the beginning. If that's the reason why they left the shopping cart, then they will learn it, and the next time they always leave your shopping cart, and they come back only if you offer them an extra discount. Or you can always offer similar suggestion. If you are using like a product recommendation engine, you can easily integrate it into your email message. Other transaction transaction emails. When you do a purchasing, then use that. It's still not 100%, but over 90% of the people, they open the transactional emails. What is better than Amazon? This is from the Amazon.com. In the Amazon.co.uk, they don't do that, but in the US, they try to sell you the Visa card. In the UK, they are not promoting that product. Probably they don't have it. New customer email. Well, that's probably 50% of the email is they are new customers. They don't buy anything. So whenever you can push the customer through this first experience, that's an extremely good time to thank them for the purchase, and reassure them that they did a good decision. You will provide them good service and offer similar products. And remember the RFM rules, whereas the reach R is for reach. The customer who bought something from you the latest, he is very likely to go back to you and buy something from you again. And strike while it's dire and it's hot. You can always send out new customer survey. Then it's people like that. You get much better results from new customers than from customers who've been buying from you regularly, because they feel that that they've been listened to, and they have earned it, and they are much more willing to share their experience with your site than customers who have been with you for many years. It's very useful. Referral campaigns. One offer for me, one offer for you. So it's always a deal. So I would share, if there is a good deal, I would share it with my friends, especially if I trust someone, if I did a purchase. But never ask referral campaign from somebody who has never purchased from you, because that's not, I don't think that it can add value. Many times you can get very good conversion rates from referral campaign, especially if it's a new customer and you nurture them and you ask their referral. Inactive win-back campaigns. Alaska Airlines has done this kind of customer reactivation, and they were very successful. Probably about 37% of their database, they were dead. They were people, they didn't even open it. And they were able to get back close to 15% of those with their campaign. So always test and select the customers who have not done certain activity. They have not purchased your site, not opened your email, and not logged into your site. And try to win them back. Send them, I miss you, please come back. It's also it's personal. Not everybody will come back. So if they don't respond, then I think you should just leave them. In the US, it started the product fulfillment reminders, and especially for certain products, I've even seen it for underwear, for men, maybe single men. I don't know if it worked in the UK, but never hurt to try. But maybe with Brita, probably it would make much more sense that you are running out. I don't use Brita. I used to use Brita, but it's good to if somebody reminds you that you purchased something which has maybe a 3 to 6 months shelf life, and it's time to replace it. This is also what the good thing is that you don't have to offer them offers, not necessarily. It's if you're just reminding them that, yeah, this is the place where you bought it and you can buy it again, then it usually works. Product review emails. It's very important, especially if you can if you can make sure that they share it on their social website. I mean, on their social site like Facebook. And this is statistics from Marketing Sherpa. Unfortunately, maybe it's a little bit difficult to read, but interesting that only 64% of the people, they send out welcome emails. Thank you email, 49%, half of the people. I mean, normally, let's say if you go to a store, you buy something, you would expect a thank you immediately. I mean, you would be probably very pissed if the cashier would not say thank you. But even the same thing is in the e-commerce that you should thank. I mean, it's just an email. It maybe less than a penny, but it really matters. Transactional email bills, 60% of the people they open it, and the shopping cart abandonment is like you see that it's even below than 20%. And the good thing about these type of transactional emails is that you set it up once and they start generating revenue and more happy customers. Well, thank you for your attention. And I hope you will enjoy the show. I don't know what time it closes. Do you have any questions? Yes.
I was just wondering, how did you work out who was opening on their mobile and who was opening on their desktop? Was that actual data or was it more guesswork?
I'm sorry, can you please?
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
How did you know if people are opening on their mobile or desktop?
How do we know if they open? Well, most of the email systems, they can tell you where the opening was. If it was on the desktop or... Because the way, email marketing platforms, they operate is that there is one pixel which is downloaded. That's where we can determine if there's an opening or not an opening. And depending on the operational system, we get back the answer. If it was... We can even tell you what kind of operating system it was, almost what kind of device.
Okay, thank
If
you.
it's an Android or iOS. Anything? Well, thank you very much.